Right, WholeOfEngland here, and today we have got a pretty interesting replay here from GulliverGumba, as you can see on screen, and he is playing in clan battles. So, I've got to say, this is a very, very impressive replay, and it is certainly one hell of a carry. So, it is a close game. It is a very close game, and you will see that shortly. But because I mean, this guy's in my clan, and I play with him quite a bit, so obviously I'm doing his replay because he's like, hey, this was a very, very good game, and after watching it, yeah, I can agree with him. Definitely, it was very impressive. So currently, what he's doing is, rather than actually pushing in, he's going sideways to get to a position where he can hold, as the Stalingrad is notably, well, known for being very good at tanking, especially at front on. When you get it at the side, it's very, very easy to citadel. You can take them out quite fast. I mean, when I've been playing clan battles in my Minotaur or something, when I've got to a side of a Stalingrad, they're not the most manoeuvrable either. So as soon as you get that sort of broadside, that's it. You can basically wipe them out of the game if you're quick enough and get good enough shots. So that's why he's getting to position here. So everyone that's going to be pushing into A, he's going to effectively be able to reduce the amount of damage that they do by angling how he is. And yeah, the guns in this thing are honestly ridiculous. So at the moment he's currently going for the Venezia, and so he's given him quite a nice broadside, but he is turning away, so chance of getting any hits pretty low. Yeah, he does miss all those, but don't worry, he will have many chances to shoot at quite a few broadside ships. So actually he's not really doing much, to be honest, because he doesn't really need to do anything. He's in position, and all he really needs to do is hold, so he can defend the cap as long as they don't hide behind that island, and just shoot at everything that really comes towards him. So we have got the Petropavlovsk. I always struggle with the pronunciation of that ship, and he's just peeking out, and it looks like he's just aiming for sort of the general centre of the ship, and possibly try and get out some of the guns. So he actually manages to fire all three, just slightly turning sort of left a little bit, or at least okay, he gets two overpens, unfortunately, and that's really it, as the Petro does then go back behind the island. So the same thing, the Montana's also pretty sheepish in wanting to push here. As you can see, he's just not, he's kind of stopped, but that doesn't really matter, because I mean, the Stalingrad, it's got pretty good shells anyway. I mean, yeah, one pen there, got 3k, and so all he really has to do is just keep on firing. So he's at a sort of good enough distance as well, where he can somewhat expose the side of his ship, so he is turning a little bit so he can get some of those shots off. So he does get all three actually hitting, and does actually manage to store 3 penetrations there, bringing his total damage up to 12k. So he's definitely doing a lot of damage, and that Minotaur is really not helping himself out here. He's really given him a very, very sort of easy sort of side shot there, so he's definitely going to get a lot of damage on him. So yeah, unfortunately these shells don't go to plan, but he even so manages to get 1 penetration and 2 overpens, as well as a ricochet. So at this point, it's looking like, you know, they've got a pretty good hold of this side of the map, so Gulliver does start to push forward a little bit, whilst dropping a radar just to keep that Shimakaze spotted, and just proceeds to sort of look for which target to go for next. And it looks like he was going to go for that Venezia, but he did go unspotted, and instead has found the Petro, so he's going to start opening fire at him instead. So far, it's not really looking like that crazy of a game. You know, it's just pretty average. He's just holding and shooting, and that's really it. So you know, at this point I was thinking, okay, so what's sort of happening? But trust me, you will find out. So you see there is a broadside Montana, so he's gotten some very, very nice shots in there, and unfortunately they do hit the back, but still managed to do 6,000 damage. And it looks like we are getting close to losing the Kerr first, so they are about to lose one of their 2 battleships. And as well as that, the other Kerr first is also looking pretty worse for wear compared to their Montana, which is there, and the Kremlin isn't even spotted. So this isn't looking too good for the team at the moment. And now he's aiming back into the Montana, who's actually taken quite a bit of a beating as well. He's lost quite a bit of health, so dropping some more shots on him, and gets a few Yeah, there we go. Gets an overpen, and he's got a few fires on him as well. So he's not really wanting to push so far, with most of this force being on this side of the map. Now, unfortunately, no one's really holding C, so that is giving a very good opening for the rest of the team to start pushing them this side, so they can start getting the C point and really just putting more pressure on the AD clan to really, well, lose, I guess, because they're not really going to be able to do too much about it. So you can see the Kremlin there is sort of supporting the Stalingrad. I mean, he was spotted a while ago, and yep, there he pops up there. The actual Stalingrad is holding a good position as well, so you can see Gumba has noticed what's going on, so has angled to sort of counter these guys, and this is the enemy's first vital mistake. So I don't know what this Stalingrad was thinking. I mean, Gumba is spotted, and yeah, he's going broadside to a Stalingrad, which are known to be able to penetrate and citadel battleships, and there we go, he gets his first citadel of the game. And by the looks of it, the Stalingrad is not in really much of a rush to get out of the way. I mean, he starts going forward now, but he actually slows down here, and there we go. That gives another opportunity for Gumba to actually shoot his side and get a triple citadel, taking him down to 20,000 health. Yeah, the Stalingrad, it's not really having a good time here, and you know, there we go, that's his next shot going in. I mean, he does return some fire with a bit of high explosive and does take a bit of damage, but yeah, there we go, he gets double citadel, he's on 2000 HP, and that's him basically out of the game. So, you know, he is healing up on that, but let's be honest, I think that Stalingrad is not going to last. He does fire 2 shots here. I mean, I wouldn't have really bothered shooting that third one, because, I mean, this is definitely going to kill him, but I guess it's safe than sorry, and he gets another citadel on the Stalingrad and confirms that kill, allowing him to now really just start focusing on the Kremlin and angle as best he can, depending on who's aiming at him. So thankfully, the Kremlin isn't actually aiming him at the moment, so he can more angle towards the Montana and the Petropavlovsk. I always struggle with that. I'm going to say that correctly one of these days. But anyway, so he's already breached 100,000 damage, which is very good. And so now he's just really focusing fire on the Kremlin, as that's taking the C cap and also going to be pushing the entire team into one side of the map. So it is vital that they really just take this Kremlin out before dealing with anyone else. So they have got the actual 2 car first, the Shema and the Zhao over there on the A cap actually holding it. So that does give Gumba over here a sort of good chance to really just keep on hammering at this Kremlin, but unfortunately one of the Kurfürst does die, and all those shots do actually either shatter or ricochet the Kremlin, so he does start loading high explosive. Which, I mean, it's not a bad thing, because at the end of the day you'd rather do some damage than none at all if they're all going to shatter, so better doing this. And he actually gets a double fire, so that's rather good. And you can see the Smolensk next to him is also giving him a bit of hell, just really spamming and just making this Kremlin's life a little less easier than it should be, which is exactly what they need to be doing in this position, because now the enemy team, they have got the actual ship advantage over at A, so now they can really just push in because they've just got a Shimakaze and a Zhao to deal with. So already this really is not looking good for, you know, just for the outcome of this game. So it's really in the best interest here to get that Kremlin out of the way as fast as possible so they can actually go and help on A. So thankfully, with the help of the Smolensk, this is going by very fast, as he's just really getting just melted down here. I mean, unfortunately, he doesn't get any hit. Well, he gets a single hit, which does minimal damage, but thankfully, the Smolensk is providing some fire. And here now, AP on the side of a Kremlin. I mean, as I say, they are able to penetrate battleships and citadel them. There we go, he gets a citadel on the Kremlin just around the 2 front guns and confirms his second kill. So that brings him up to nearly 150,000 damage at 145k, and now he can start focusing on the A cap, which is now being overrun by the enemies. So thankfully, with taking out the actual Kremlin, there is a sort of, you know, the amount of ships is equal, so it is a bit fairer. And, well, look at that. There is the Venezia, and he is giving a beautiful broadside for Gumba to actually pay a visit to. And there we go, he manages to score a direct hit into his citadel and deal a good amount of damage there. And I don't know what's happening here. I mean, I think this is just... This is just really unlucky for the enemy team because, oh wow, that's just not good. I mean, he doesn't actually get a citadel on the Henri there, but even so does manage to get 3 penetrations and 1 over penetration and do about 8,000 damage or just under, and just fires just one possible salvo and actually gets a quad citadel for 36,000 damage. And that Henri is out of the game, so already that has actually that has really started to turn the tide here, and he's now firing on the Montana and is now aiming at the Venezia, who for some reason just doesn't stop giving Gumba a broadside, which allows him to get a double citadel and get his 15th citadel and 3rd kill. So now, what was a very bad situation, Gumba over here has managed to completely flip the game, turn the tide, and it's now just really effective, taking this Montana down and then really just securing the win. So they do still have a cap advantage, but by the looks of it, this Montana is not going to be alive much longer, and it is just going to be a 2 versus 1 where, you know, it's going to be, well, it's still going to be very close with the amount of caps and the point difference currently in the game. So thankfully, I mean, the Montana's quite low and the Smolensk is firing at him, and yeah, there we go, he's actually knocked out one of his guns, so this Montana isn't going to be in this game very long at all. But even so, it is Montana, so you still need to be careful. So he's keeping well angled to this Montana, so he's really reducing its effectiveness and just continually just chonking off HP. So at this point, yeah, it's pretty much a GG for this Montana. I mean, Gumba does still have another 30 seconds on his heel, so he does need to get this guy out very fast before finding where that Petro is, otherwise, you know, he could be in for trouble. However, there we go, he secures his 4th kill and gets 257,000 damage and has now located the Petro. Yeah, so that's something I really was not expecting to see in this replay. That was just a beautiful play. And yeah, okay, he gets an over penetration and gets to 258,000 damage. So now all they really need to do is just gang up on this Petro, and that should be a win. So his repair party has just come off cooldown, so he's able just to get just a little bit of health just to keep him alive for longer. In the event that, let's say, this turns into a 1v1, you want to have the best chance possible. And yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to get quite a bit of HP back here. So he actually starts pushing into the cap to contest it, so they start gaining points at a slower speed. And so the Petro is obviously going to want to block that, but at the same time, we do have the Smolensk coming in, which is also going to be pushing. And I'm not too sure what they were communicating in Discord, but I'm assuming it is on the lines of, I'll go one side, you go the other, and the one of us will get him. So at the moment, Gumba is currently going around the one side, and it looks like the Petro, I mean, he's not in a good situation. I mean, he's very close to beaching here, and just needs to start turning. And he's got the Smolensk slowly, well, actually, by the looks of it, he's, okay, yeah, it is moving forward, I believe. Yeah, it is moving forward, so I think it was just taking a bit of time for him to actually start going forward. But either way, so he's in a good position now. Now, he's been quite smart here by just holding off when going forward, because obviously if you go broadside to a Petro in the Stalingrad, you are not going to be alive very long. So he is actually waiting for this Smolensk to push up and then push together, just so regardless, there's no way that the Petro can survive this. So it's a bit of a waiting game here, waiting for the Smolensk to go, but eventually he will get into the cap. So you can see the actual Petro has blocked the cap here, but even so, that is reducing the speed at which the enemy can gain points. So, you know, there's no real chance that they're going to win very fast here, as they're only really gaining points off that one cap, as this one's currently contested. And okay, you can see the Petro is just trying to see where the other guys are, and I'm assuming he's aiming at the Smolensk, as the actual targeting indicator hasn't popped up with a 1, so probably going for the Smolensk here, so giving the green light for Gumba to actually turn around the corner and start pushing. Drops his radar for the Smolensk just to get a tiny bit of information before he gets around that corner. Nose in, perfect, so he's not going to be taking as much damage from the Petro. And there we go, so he's getting taken out here. So I think what would have been the icing on the cake is if he could have got a Kraken, as he's on 5 kills. So you can see here, this is looking very possible. You know, gets his front gun here. Unfortunately, he aims for the actual side of the ship rather than the superstructure, which would have confirmed the kill. But regardless, that was an amazing play there. So If we just take a look at the results screen here, so this is the only one that I've got. I mean, it wasn't clan battles, so the actual team score wouldn't have mattered because everyone gets a base of 2,500 XP. But regardless, you can see that is a very nice score to really see. So 630,000 credits for the win, so it doesn't seem to have too many actual credit flags on. 8,374 base, well, not base, but regular experience, and 2.4k free XP. So the amount of damage that is really good. 258,000 damage with 131 main battery hits, 2 incapacitations, 4 kills. I mean, that was basically a crack. I mean, there was I think one of the other times he could have nearly got a kill. I think it was on the Stalingrad, so very close to getting a crack in there. Or at least he would have done if this was a regular game. 2 fire set, 15 hits to the Citadel, which is incredibly good. 4 defended ribbons, 7 secondary target hits, and then obviously got some steel for playing in clan battles for a win. So overall, that has been a pretty amazing game to just really witness, and I'm glad to have the pleasure to show that to you. And that's really been it. So if you want to see more videos like this in the future, then make sure to let me know in the comments, as well as dropping a like. And if you want to see more in the future like this and you're not subscribed already, then make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.